So why this is so important? Most important thing, most of the family avoid this topic. There are lots of reasons why normally family avoid this topic. One is not a good topic to discuss at home, and most of the time father believe it's not, I don't know how to fairly distribute my wealth to my children, and I don't know whether what is fair may not be equal. It's a very detailed subject. Missing documents at home. Again, there are lots of illusion of time. I'd say that we have time. Correct. We have time to write my will, to plan my succession. And again, the person who's supposed to write the will, supposed to do the succession, fear about his identity and the control. The moment I have done the succession, I lose my identity, my control. This is the most dangerous part. At the age of my children are touching 45 or 50, the most important challenge is basically the fear of conflict. Whether my children may challenge me. Again, I don't have enough assets and I'm too young to discuss this topic, and I am not in a position to decide all these things right now. So the most important aspects also here, I'm not very clear who will get what. That's also not very clear. These are the lots of dilemma, the reason most of the family avoid, I would say that avoid succession planning as this conversation. Now, what is estate? How many of you really know what is estate? It's not rubber estate, tea estate. What's estate, ma'am? Net assets and wealth of the deceased person. Okay, deceased person. Okay, that's the reason you see most of the people call as estate planner, right? Estate planner is basically the person who will be planning the estate of the deceased person. So now the question is, what is your estate? Okay, as you said, most of the people have their own assets, no? Immobile property, financial assets and others. Typical, all those tangible assets, what you see is your total assets. But unfortunately, most of the people miss certain also assets like your intangibles, your digital assets, your mobile phone, your password, your IP rights. I don't know how many of you really know your phone is also your assets. Correct? Your contacts is an asset, right? Every day your phone value increase. Correct? Today, or at least you met at least 3 to 10 people. So they are also your contacts and relationship. Every day your value of your assets is increased. Now let's say, just imagine a lack of succession planning. Just think of, you go back to your family. Who will take control of your family in your absence? I mean, who will take control of your family? Now, next question is, who will take control of your estate? Family is different, estate is different. And who has the person has a competency to control? Not necessarily the person who control your estate, not necessarily he might have the competency. Then it's a very, very critical aspects. Who will challenge? There will be a person in your home, somebody may challenge. At this stage, may not challenge. You don't know whether. I always say that the presence of a father, family behave differently. In the absence of the father, the same family behave completely differently. The tone, communication, everything will change. Again, you have to check. Assume there is a succession is happening. Who will be the most affected party in the family? You can find all those people. And again, if there will be any situation of a dispute will come at the time of a distribution. So all those aspects, what I'm trying to communicate, estate planning or succession planning is nothing to do with wealth transfer. It's all about the family and how you protect your family and how you communicate within the family, the assets what you have. So it's not about the wealth transfer. So these are the typical questions. People may think, okay, where to start this topic and how to start and what to do and who will do. These are the typical questions most of the people will ask when it comes to a succession planning. But I strongly recommend these are not the question you're supposed to ask. Most important question is why. Why you should do succession. That's the most important question you should ask. Because why as a question, as a always come with consequences, right? That's the beauty of question why. Why always come with the consequences? That consequences you need to understand why succession planning is so important. I just highlight why normally people are not doing succession, why they delay succession. The reason, there is a consequences, that consequences is not on you. Okay? That is not immediate and it never affect your continuity. You're not written your will, you're not done your succession. Do you think anyone will challenge you at your home why you didn't write your will? Nobody will challenge, right? It never affect your continuity. The reason, the whole negative side, the consequences is always on the family. Because at that impact we never see, we never realize. That is the reason why people avoid this topic. So now a little bit of factual informations. If you don't succession planning, what are the consequences? In India, right now more than 1.5 lakh crore is unclaimed money. 1.5 lakh crore unclaimed money in different forms. Shares, dividend, deposits, insurance, all. Total deposits around 78,000 crore is an unclaimed deposit in the bank. Do you know why? Because the family is not aware such a deposit exists in the name of my father, in the name of my husband, because the so-called father and husband never shared that information with the family. Because what we have done, we always do nomination in all my bank deposit. I believe nominee is my legal heir. Nominee, absolutely not your legal heir, just a trustee as a gatekeeper. Collect the money and distribute to the other legal heir. That is also most of the people may not know. Now the question is, who is your legal heir? I don't know how many of you really know your legal heir and how much they inherit. So here, most important, just I think, hope you can see this screen. This is a typical family of husband and wife, right? So the relationship of the in-laws side and the husband side. So imagine a situation just kind of you have parents, you have wife and children. This is the situation of a family. Imagine you're not done succession, you're not written your will, how your asset is going to distribute among the family members. If it's a Hindu, mother, wife, children, they share equally. Wife and mother share equally. If you have one child, technically 33. Equally they share as per the Hindu Succession Act. Assume if it's a Christian, parents has no role in succession. Only wife and children get the share. Wife get 33%, balance will be shared between the children. And if it's a Muslim, parents get 16.67% equally, then wife get only 12.5%. Balance will be shared between the children 2:1. Son always get the twice the share of the daughter. This is as per the Sharia law. Now let's see another family. No parents, only wife and the daughter. Hindu, wife get 50%, daughter get 50%. Assume if it is a Christian, wife get 33, a daughter get balance 67. If it's a Muslim, whole scenario change. Wife get 12.5%, daughter only get 50%. That means only 67.5% only will be shared between a wife and a daughter, and balance will go to the husband's siblings. Husband's siblings will get the 2:1 ratio. This is the one reason most of the Muslim family with a girl child go to Special Marriage Act and register their marriage in the Special Marriage Act so that they are out from the Sharia law. Now let's see the another position. No children, only wife. Only wife, a Hindu 100% she get. For a Christian, she get only 50%. A Christian wife get only 50% if there are no children. Balance will go to husband's siblings. Without husband's NOC and signature, a wife can't inherit the property from the husband. And if it's a Muslim, she get only 25%, balance will go to the brothers and sisters of the husband. It's a bit shocking, right? You may be thinking, okay, this is the reason actually say that Supreme Court said every woman in India should write a will irrespective of your age. The reason, succession law, most of the people die in India without writing a will. This all comes because of the inheritance law. There are two types of succession. One is called as a testate succession. That means with a will, intestate succession without a will. A person who die by writing a will, he will be called as a testate death. If the person die without a will, he will be called as an intestate. 95% people die in India without writing a will. That's a fact. And as I said, on a testate death, you decide your legal heir. On an intestate, government decide your legal heir without an option. Okay. So, this is the reason any intestate death, the governance law will be for a Hindu, you have a Hindu Succession Act 1956. For a Christian, you have an Indian Succession Act 1925. For a Muslim, Sharia Act 1937. This is the inheritance. So it's a bit complicated with my experience. That is reason I took almost 8 to 9 months to develop a tool under a True Legacy. If anyone wants to go through your family background, scan this QR code, if possible, or go to the website, truelegacy.in succession, where you can identify your family and your legal heir. You just need to answer only 7 questions. Within 1 minute, you get to know your family background, and you can share it with your families also. Only 7 questions. I don't want to go detail. Only 7 questions once you get the answer. This is one important information. I say that sentiments and sympathy has no role when the law is so clear. This is a verdict from the Supreme Court. That is the reason. Insurance, investment, same time, your succession is also so critical and important. The reason now in 2026, most of the people have created a wealth. Next generation, this is something very important to take care.